meteorologist Kevin Gregory. This is RTV6 News at 11, working for you.
Drug overdose deaths have become such a problem. The Indiana State Department of Health calls it an epidemic. Thanks for joining us here at 11. I'm Nicole Griffin. Tonight, families who have experienced the loss of a loved one to addiction gathered together at the Indianapolis Colts complex to discuss the issue and also to comfort one another. RTV6's Graham Hunter was there.
Lisa Kimball.
This was a celebration of life.
David Jeffries Manlove.
The families in this room, all with one tragic thing in common. The life of their loved one was lost to addiction.
My son and only child, Joey, died at age 19 about 3 years ago.
Erica Watkins now speaks to try and end the stigma that surrounds people battling drug addiction.
The truth is that they are very loved and that they're people and that they deserve recognition.
She remembers the life Joey Diener lived and not the way he died.
He was a comedian, an unfiltered comedian, and he would leave an impression, whether good or bad.
Diener's story has become an all too common one in Indiana, where in 2017, 1,500 people died from a drug overdose, nearly 5 deaths each day. 3 out of 5 of every one of those deaths is related to opioids.
We just don't treat it well. There's very highly effective treatments, both in therapy and in medications.
Dr. Krista Bucker is an emergency medicine physician who has seen the crisis firsthand in the emergency room.
Until we can open wide the doors of treatment, we're going to continue to suffer from this epidemic.
Gloria Haynes is a certified peer recovery coach who says the stigma of addiction can make it difficult for those in recovery to find jobs and adequate housing.
It's hard for a person who is trying to recover their life.
And says what's needed most is community support to help people turn their lives around.
We just need to support the person to find their own path to recovery.
Working for you from the Northwest Side, Graham Hunter, RTV6.
A beautiful night in central Indiana. Our temperatures still mild at 74 degrees. Humidity's not too bad at 66%, as we've got a little bit of an east breeze right now, trying to bring in some slightly drier air. We've got a front draped across central Indiana, not triggering off much in the way of rain. Had just a couple of teeny tiny showers here in the northern portions of White County, right along 421 there. But you can see that's not going to amount to a whole lot. I think we will stay fairly quiet during the overnight hours. That front dividing the mild 70s from the cooler 60s to the north. As you head out the door in the morning, we will start off the day in the upper 60s to around 70 degrees. A stray shower for northwestern communities. We'll talk more about those Sunday rain chances. Some record warmth on the way, but also in that 7-day planning forecast, highs only in the 60s.
All right, Kyle, thank you. Well, starting a conversation that aims to spark change in our city tonight. That was the focus for people from several different North Side neighborhoods who shared a community meal hosted by Newfields. The goal to understand issues facing families in our city like food insecurity and provoke change, leading to a stronger and better community.
Come on and pass the peas like we used to do.
Sitting across from one another at this table Saturday night are people from all walks of life.
Just a bunch of people from different backgrounds, different lives.
It's the first year for the event called At the Crossroads, a Community Meal. It's a social practice project led by St. Paul, Minnesota-based artist Setu Jones.
To have this over-the-table conversation about race, class, gender, specifically about housing and all the many injustices that helped lead toward food injustice.
300 people were invited to sit at this 400-foot-long table at 39th and Meridian Street. The event, hosted by Newfields, is bringing together people from neighborhoods like Meridian Kessler, Mapleton Fall Creek, and Butler Tarkington.
The table that we're sitting at, we were actually able to talk about food deserts. We're talking about where people shop and how we could actually work on things together to help the communities find better access to food and to health care.
The table features a hand quilt runner covered with red lines that serves as a talking point.
that old practice of insurance companies and some banks where they would draw a red line around a community of color and an African-American community in particular and some poor white communities and deny services to those communities. And it's because of that practice that many of these injustices, like food injustice, manifest itself today.
Hearing personal stories from people, living in those environments that are still affected by the red lines in the past is just, mind-blowing to me because, I was completely ignorant of it.
The community meal is an opportunity for people to learn from one another and understand the barriers and issues they face.
For this individual, the fear that some have, I do not want it. Because I would never be able to step out of the front door and mingle with those that we need each other.
The ultimate goal to continue the conversation and provoke change in our city.
This meal here will hopefully lead toward a better world.
The runner we mentioned on the table will now be displayed throughout the Harvest Festival at Newfields. A panel discussion focusing on food access and systemic racism will also be held at the Harvest Festival on October 3rd. Metro Police are looking for a missing woman who was last seen on Thursday. Cynthia Mullins was in a 2016 gray Kia Forte with Indiana license plate BHB 945. Police say she is a diabetic and may be without her medication. If you see her, call Crime Stoppers 317-262-TIPS. 4 people were injured in a 4-vehicle crash this afternoon on the east side. Indianapolis Fire Department crews and emergency personnel were called to East 10th Street and North Arlington Avenue just after 1:30 today. A FedEx truck was one of the vehicles involved. 2 people were taken to Eskenazi Hospital in critical condition. 2 other people suffered minor injuries. No word yet on what caused the crash. Now to a traffic alert. The ramps to and from Meridian Street and I-70 downtown have reopened just in time for Sunday's Colts game. The ramps closed on Monday and were supposed to open Friday morning, but that was delayed by 1 day. Contractors had been repairing winter damage to those ramps. It has been a classic weekend in downtown Indianapolis. Lucas Oil Stadium is quiet tonight after the Circle City Classic football game earlier today. Jackson State University took on Kentucky State University. The Classic is an annual event that features 2 historically black colleges or universities and is highlighted by the ever-popular Battle of the Bands during halftime. But before all of that, thousands of people, and you see us right there, line the streets for the downtown for the Circle City Classic parade. I walked along with Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory and Rafael Sanchez and other members of the RTV6 team. The parade features celebrities, floats, and marching bands. Leaders say it's one of the top parades in the country. They say around 100,000 fans lined up downtown for this annual tradition. The parade's grand marshal is a man whose dramatic life story has been the stuff of books, movies, and TV. Corey Wise met with reporters after the parade. Wise and 4 other men are commonly known as the Central Park Five. They were wrongfully accused and imprisoned for the rape and beating of a 28-year-old woman in New York City. Wise is now a criminal justice reform advocate and speaker. Today, he had a specific message for young people in town for the Classic.
Just wake up. Just wake up. Wake up before they have to charge you to wake up. Wake up while it's free. Wake up. Wake up. Learn what you're supposed to learn.
The Central Park Five are now the subject of the recent Emmy Award-winning Netflix series When They See Us. Today, the Indianapolis Airport Authority hosted a rededication ceremony for the newly relocated Bethel Cemetery at Concordia Cemetery. It included a general cemetery dedication, but also veteran tributes. It all comes after the Airport Authority had to relocate the remains of more than 500 people for a stormwater project last year. Now the remains of those that had to be moved have a new home at Concordia Cemetery on the south side. A man was injured after being hit by a boat while tubing today on Geist Reservoir. It happened just before 5 p.m. today. A 23-year-old man was hit by a boat coming to get him after he fell off the tube. No word yet tonight on the extent of those injuries. For the very first time, local firefighters who are dog lovers are teaming up with animal rescue organizations and shelters to assist in saving animals that need it the most. Pause and Prevention was held today in Fountain Square by the Indianapolis Fire Department and the Indianapolis Firefighters Local 416 Union Group. A group of firefighters who have a strong passion for animals wanted to get involved in a community project, and this was the result. The focus was on getting animals adopted and teaching about fire prevention. Money raised today goes to help organizations like Fido and Indy Cares.
I think today's turnout was definitely a demonstration of how passionate Indianapolis is about their animals and about their animal welfare. And all of these organizations that we have represented today are extremely active in our community.
Today, more than $3,000 was raised to help local animal rescue groups. Leaders say if you still want to help, get involved by adopting, fostering, or even donating your time or money. As talk of impeaching the president continues to heat up, the Democratic candidates for president are stepping into the debate. The very latest when the News at 11 continues.
And it has been a very dry month here across much of central Indiana. Dry and drought conditions continuing to expand. I'll let you know if October will bring a change in that pattern. You're watching RTV6.
Find an advisor at northwesternmutual.com.
This is RTV6 News at 11, working for you.
Politics now in the race for 2020. Democratic candidates are on the campaign trail as the impeachment inquiry of President Trump gains momentum. Those efforts following the whistleblower complaint involving the president's conversation with the leader of Ukraine about a potential 2020 political rival. Tonight, President Trump posting a video message fighting back. ABC's Elizabeth Herr has more.
A war of words between President Trump and the Democrats as their impeachment inquiry picks up steam. On the campaign trail, 2020 hopefuls trying to emphasize other key issues like health care and education. But the impeachment topic, too big to ignore.
This latest business with Ukraine, where it appears that he is willing to take taxpayer dollars and dangle them in front of a foreign country. It's wrong. It's a violation of the law, and Congress has a duty to perform.
In Austin, Texas, Senator Amy Klobuchar comparing the current process to Watergate.
It feels very similar to that, with the paranoia and with the personal gain and the election coming up. And so I just hope my colleagues, just as Republicans did then, rose to the occasion.
President Trump posting a video on Twitter saying he's been unfairly targeted and blaming the probe on partisan politics.
What's going on now is the single greatest scam in the history of American politics. The Democrats want to take away your guns. They want to take away your health care. They want to take away your vote. They want to take away your freedom. They want to take away your judges.
But some are warning Democrats to be cautious.
The Democrats have to be careful that they don't get too far in front of the American public, that they get so far in front of the public that the public doesn't go along with what they're doing.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and top Democrats say they are keeping their impeachment inquiry focused on the Ukraine matter, hoping they will be able to file the articles of impeachment by Thanksgiving. Elizabeth Herr, ABC News, New York.
Now to Democracy 2019, and voters in Marion County will have 5 locations to vote early leading up to the November election. Early voting will begin Tuesday, October 8th at the Marion County Clerk's Office. Beginning Saturday, October 26th, 4 additional sites will open: the Washington, Perry, and Warren Township Government Centers and Cranert Park. You can find addresses and times at indyvoteearly.org. Election day is November 5th. Turning to weather now, it has been a pretty nice day overall. Look at that gorgeous shot there, Kyle. It's very nice.
Beautiful night in the Circle City there. Monument Circle all lit up, and you know, summer just continues to go on here. It's technically the first weekend of fall. Certainly doesn't feel like it, and we're going to hold on to that for a little while.
It was hot today.
A little toasty out there in the sun in that parade. Let's take you outside and show you the view from our pagoda camera now, and you can see the city skyline. Our temperature 74 degrees in downtown. Kokomo a little bit cooler at 69, 74. The current temperature in Bloomington. By tomorrow morning, we'll be in the 60s, lower 60s in Peru and Kokomo, 66 though in Columbus, and about 67 degrees around the metro area. And some some of us will start off our Sunday with a little bit of rain here. As we go through the day, though, I think those rain chances diminishing with temperatures continuing to climb. Back into the middle 80s tomorrow afternoon. Average high only about 73 degrees. Now, the newest model runs coming in tonight are kind of beefing up these rain chances into the morning, especially over the western portion of the state. This is TrueCast. By 9 a.m. we'll have some clouds. There you can see showers and a few rumbles of thunder that will continue to try and make their way east across central Indiana. But as they do so, expected to kind of fall apart a little bit. That said, some areas that haven't seen rain for a while do stand a decent chance, especially the western half of central Indiana here through the first half of the day and then into the afternoon would be very isolated the way it looks right now. But yes, we need it. As we look at the rainfall report here, less than a half an inch of rain has fallen in the city so far this month, and we're about to wrap up September, and we're starting to chip away at that surplus that we have for the year. Things are starting to even out there as well. That's why we have some dry and drought conditions across central Indiana. Where we don't need the rain, well, that's for tailgating tomorrow at the Colts game. The roof window will be closed tomorrow for the game. Temperatures 82 degrees at 1 o'clock. Again, could have a few of those showers make their way into downtown for tailgating. Spotty storm at 4, and our temperature 86 degrees. A little bit cooler to the north once again as that front is still kind of hanging out across the state. 80 degrees for your high in Kokomo, 77 in Logansport, and 85 in Anderson. So temperatures do warm pretty quickly here as you head south across central Indiana. Around 89 degrees in Shelbyville, Brazil coming in at 87, and even some 90s back on the board tomorrow. Bedford, Seymour, and Columbus at 90 degrees. And I think more of us will be in the lower 90s Monday and Tuesday. Forecasting highs of 91 degrees, which would be record breakers there both of those days, and we may tie another record going into Wednesday at 89. The record high temperature for an October day is 91 degrees. That was set in 2007. So we are going to be watching that closely here. As we go into the temperature trend, we're finally going to start to push that heat back off to the south, bringing in some cooler air as we get into the end of the 7-day planning forecast. Let's put it all together now for you. The high temperatures, lower 90s. That comes with dry weather Monday and Tuesday. Chance for a few showers and storms on Thursday. And there is fall. 76 the high on Thursday, and actually in the 60s Friday and Saturday. So we'll go from the shorts as we go into the first part of the week to maybe needing the jacket here a little bit.
You got to be ready for it all.
This time of year in Indiana, you do.
Yeah, I made the mistake today of wearing all black in the parade and a long sleeve.
Long sleeves.
I was like,
yeah.
What am I doing?
Layers. Got layers.
All right, Kyle. We'll be right back.
Visit your local Chase branch.
Welcome back. You might not be aware of how much information you have online, who has it, or what it's used for. Chris Welch talks to experts about what you should be doing to protect your online privacy.
What are some of the biggest issues right now when it comes to data protection?
One of the toughest things is that for most of us, being online is no longer an optional thing. It's a mandatory thing. There is a lot of data collection that happens without our express knowledge. Some people would argue you consent to it because usually the consent is buried in a long terms and conditions or privacy policy. And so, yes, you consent, but most of us don't read those documents, nor could we be expected to practically.
How did we get to the point where these companies, whether it's Facebook or Google, where they have this almost free reign, it feels at times, on our information that's online?
Yeah, they do, because we don't have any laws, frankly, that restrict either data collection or data use.
Why should I care that my location's on, or that Siri's listening to me, or Alexa's listening to me, when I feel like I have nothing to hide?
I hear that a lot. I have nothing to hide. I'm not doing anything wrong. And so it kind of assumes that privacy is about hiding things. It's about I do something wrong that I don't want other people to see, when I would argue it's a lot more about just controlling, who you are and your ability to do things in the world.
Well, how do you sustain a business model in which users don't pay for your service?
Senator, we run ads.
How does that show up on a 7-year-old's iPhone who's playing a kid's game?
Congressman, iPhone is made by a different company.
Is the government
equipped with people right now to handle the issues of technology and data?
Certainly there's not enough. So there's a real need for technological expertise in Congress. That doesn't necessarily mean elected officials. I would not expect most elected officials to necessarily come out of software companies. I would actually argue we'd be better off if we didn't have our elected officials coming out of Silicon Valley, for example.
What should we expect from our elected officials when it comes to big data?
I would hope that what we would see are some reasonable protections for consumers in the next few years. There's only so much you can do as an individual, and that's why it's important, I would say, to pressure our elected representatives to say that you want, real data laws.
DoorDash is serving up some frustrating news. Nearly 5 million people could be affected by a recent data breach that includes customers, drivers, and their restaurant partners. DoorDash says this actually happened back in May, and someone accessed stored addresses, phone numbers, and email addresses. In a few cases, the person was able to see bank account information and license numbers. DoorDash is now sending emails to anyone who might be affected. The Pacers Bike Share program is encouraging the community to come together through bike rides. If you missed this week's community bike ride, there will be more in October. Riders started at the Julia M. Carson Transit Center downtown. Organizers say it's a great way to learn more about the Bike Share program and how to get around the city on 2 wheels.
So we have a network of trails and greenways, again, that people can use to get around the city. It's just knowing about them and knowing how to access them. Rides free.
Pacers Bike Share will host free community rides each Monday in October. The Indianapolis Colts will put their 2-game winning streak on the line when the team takes on the Oakland Raiders tomorrow. The good news, the Colts will be playing in the friendly confines of Lucas Oil Stadium. Kickoff is set for 1 p.m. We'll be right back.
Hurry in for a great deal.
Hiring Hoosiers is RTV6's focus on linking you up with skills, resources, and jobs. And we love to find ways that education can take you into a career. Robots are taking over the Walker Career Center in Warren Township, thanks to students who are getting into the STEM industry. Aaron Lish is taking us inside to see how they get classroom to career ready.
Students here at the Walker Career Center are using their creativity and ingenuity in the robotics program, getting them ready for a life in the world of technology.
For Walker Career Center student Keegan Axmit.
All right, that's on. Let's just fill up this side first.
He helps design and build these robots.
All right, we're going for the top. So then.
They use sensor and actuators to solve problems and complete tasks in their robotics program.
I make most of the parts for the robot, so I'm pretty good at using the manual machines. So the next step after that is just going straight to CNC.
Skills gained include understanding motors, functional systems, and robot control systems.
There are companies that will look for that, First Robotics or Vex Robotics on a resume to say that they know that they've been in a program where they've been put under the gun, under pressure, and can succeed through it.
They program industrial robots and design test robots for competitive tournaments.
Make sure you make those long enough that we have some extra to wind it through here.
For Ashton Watson, she enjoys repairing the robots.
So we're replacing the regulator for the pneumatic system.
She hopes her passion for engineering and STEM will inspire others.
Even if you think that you have just a little bit of an interest in it, that you should definitely try, getting into STEM, getting into robotics, getting into coding.
And these robots are the vehicles to help teach these students how to grow in the robotics industry.
I think it's great. I think it's one of the best things I've done throughout my high school career.
Working for you, Aaron Lish, RTV6.
Aaron, thank you. You can see this story and all of our other Hiring Hoosiers profiles right now on the RTV6 app and on our website, hiringhoosiers.com. More now with Hiring Hoosiers. The Indiana State Police Capitol Police Section is now accepting applications. Online applications are due by 11:59 p.m. on Monday, October 21st. The next academy for Capitol Police recruits begins on January 13th. Here are some of the basic requirements for a Capitol Police officer. You must be a U.S. citizen. You must be at least 21 years of age by the time of your appointment, which is April 24th of next year. You must meet a minimum vision standard of 20/50 $250 in each eye. You must possess a valid driver's license, and you must be a high school graduate. The starting salary for a Capitol police officer is just under $45,000 a year.
Our 7-day planning forecast, well, it's summer in the front and fall in the back here. We've got highs in the middle 80s tomorrow, a few showers and storms to start off the day, and then it's all about the heat. Monday and Tuesday, we're into the lower 90s, 76 by Thursday, and 60s for highs this time next week.
All right, looking forward to it. Thank you, Kyle, and thank you for joining us. Have a great night. See you back here tomorrow at 6.